Hello, my name is Javon.
I'm Aisha.
I'm Londina.
And we are Identity.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching another video of ours. This video I'm so excited to. I think I say that every video, but you know, that's okay.
Every video is exciting.
Exactly. Very exciting. So I'm going to read you guys something and then we're just going to jump into our video. So, Mama Chicken thoroughly enjoyed taking her 4 babies to the park. But the park was across a busy highway. So Mama Chicken would gather her little chicks under her wings and would walk very cautiously across the highway. She would dodge trucks and cars and motorcycles and teen drivers, y'all know the teen drivers, and more. The mama chick would do anything to protect her babies. Even if that meant she would have to turn back and go to the safe side of the road and go to the park another day. So why in the world did I just read you guys a story about a chicken and her chicks? Well, today's video is called Protecting the Boundaries of Your Identity. So that chicken actually represents us as people. And those chickens, those 4 chickens, or baby chicks rather, represent 4 areas of your life. And so 1 is emotional health, 2 physical health, 3 your spiritual health, and 4 is your mental health. So the trucks, the cars, the motorcycles, the teen drivers, they represent people in your life that cross over your boundaries. So what would it look like in your life if you protected your boundaries the way that chicken protected her baby chicks?
Wow. Really quick, when you just said that, a thought just came to mind. Those cars, those trucks, those teen drivers, they're blocking that mama chicken and those babies from getting to their purpose, their destiny.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's really good. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's good. And that's why she has to protect them.
Yes.
To get over, you have to protect yourself in order to get to your destiny.
Yes.
You know?
And
And that's what identity is about.
Absolutely.
You know, it's protecting that. So we're talking about you know, identity and those boundaries. Boundaries are super important. I know myself, just giving a little wide eye to that, I've never knew anything about boundaries until maybe a couple of years ago. Someone told me about it and it's like, wow, I never knew about boundaries, you know. And most people have them, you know. You grow up, you know. I always thought of it like standards. So I set standards in my life, of course. Okay, yeah, I set these standards, you know, of what I want in life, but not realizing that boundaries are even more important. What they are is that they're things that you set in place that you know that is your limit. You know, that the furthest you can go in handling. I heard a minister talk about guardrails. You know, like on a highway, you have these guardrails. And that means that, you know, you're not supposed to go past those guardrails. Why? Because on the other side of it, it's danger. Exactly. So, and that danger is is your life, is your emotional health, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health will be in danger if you go past those guardrails. So it's important to set those. It's important to set those, or even from other cars, like she's talking about. They'll come in if there's nothing there to block them, you know. And you have to set that because there's people out there. There's people out there that may come up to your boundary and not realize it. That happens here and there, you know.
Absolutely.
But if they care about you, they'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, and I won't do that again." And sometimes some people you just have to tell them, "Oh, okay, well, I can't go that far." You know, you're messing with how I feel about myself, or you know, you've offended me, and that's where those boundaries are. Is where someone begins to offend you in who you are and what you need in life. And you know, our spouses are the closest people to us besides God. And so when that happens with a spouse, it's even more detrimental to you as a person, because they're let in more in on what's going on, but they're supposed to be the ones to protect you because they love you. So they're not going to cross those boundaries. They're going to protect those boundaries with you. You know, and sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But that's why we have to be careful before we choose who we do to be our spouse, to be our mate, to be those people that are closest to us. So, but those boundaries are important because, like we were speaking before, that if you come in one, that's a leak because they're all connected.
Yes.
So if one of them is broken, it can start leaking out things that, you know, then you're not covered and you're not protected. One of the ways some people out there, and there's more than you think, that want to violate that. They want to take advantage of you not setting that boundary and them crossing those boundaries because they want to have their own way. So they'll use you and, you know, take advantage of that, you know, and that's why it's important to have those boundaries up and say, you know what, not only just have the boundaries, but also enforce the boundaries.
Yes.
You know, you have to set something and say, okay, I'm going to have to enforce this. Now, if you cross it one more time, you know, went too far, stayed way too long, and something's going to have to happen or end. You know, because even your very life is at stake. Your very life is at stake when people cross your boundaries. And most of the time it's bullies. Bullies have so many different looks and ways in life. And but there are people that don't care about you and don't love you and don't care about you. If they don't care, then they'll cross those boundaries. But that's why when they do, you have to let them know. You know, it's important to have people that love you because it can take you to the very point of wanting to take your life when someone continually crosses those boundaries because they take away your self-image. They drain you from who you are. Your health begins to go. Your spiritual life begins to go. And a lot of times, most of the time, it comes through your heart because you care about them. And they'll come through your heart, and then it starts to mess with your mind. And you begin to lose your mind. And then you're wondering what's happening to me. You could be a strong, good person that knows how to do things in life, but then all of a sudden you're wondering what's happening to me in this relationship, or why can't I do the things I used to? Why can't I think straight? Why am I losing all my confidence in who I am? It's because there's a leak there. You've let that person cross those boundaries. And a lot of times they come in through our heart, take advantage of our heart and into our mind because that's where it starts deteriorating. We have to close up those links. Set those boundaries because it will end up wanting, not only will it hurt you from them, but you'll begin to want to hurt yourself. And that's not a good thing at all. You need to be healed.
I have a question for anyone out there that's kind of thinking maybe the same thing that I'm thinking. So what happens when you've gone through life and realized at a certain point that, yes, I've allowed people to overstep boundaries? How do you then go back and set those boundaries in a way that, you know, I don't know, like how do you do that? Like how do you go back and set boundaries?
Well, one of the ways just, you know, to set boundaries is to love yourself. You have to begin to love you, you know, and think, you know what, I'm worth more. But the most important thing, and this is one of the things that I've learned that helped me, is that when you go to God, your creator, the one who created you, and say, who am I? He knows who you are because he created you. You know, a lot of times we go to different people in our lives to tell us, who are we, what, you know, and, you know, they know some stuff about us, that's good, but they don't know really our purpose, or who we are, because they didn't create us, you know. And a lot of people are missing their fathers in their life, and they're missing their things in their life that even their mother may not be there, or is not there all the way, or whatever the case is. And a lot of people use that as a crutch, saying, oh, I didn't grow up with my father, I don't know who I am, da da da, and they become victims. And that's what happens when you use the blame. Oh, well, I didn't know who I was, nobody told me, and this and that. you become a blamer, which causes you to be a victim.
Right.
And you'll become a victim for life and never do anything or go anywhere. But we are to be victorious. And then to be victorious is to say, you know what? Yeah, I don't know who I am, but guess what? I know where to go to find out who I am. And you go through to your Creator, and in His Word, He constantly tells you who you are. Who am I? We're made in His image. If you're made in His image, you He knows who you are because He created you. He thought about you before the foundation of the world. He's like, this is who she's going to be. This is who he's going to be. So I have it all set for them. I know who they are and what they should be. Even our parents don't know all of that. They're just they're managers. They don't know. You know, so that's where you find out the true self.
It's really important to be unapologetic about who you are. Being who you are is one thing. Like, knowing who you are is one thing, but when you start showing others that you're unapologetic about it, and I'm going to use this reference, and it's very light, but I mean, I use it very often in my life. So my hair is natural. It's always been natural. I've had maybe 2 or 3 perms my entire life. So when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, there's a lot of frizz.
Yeah.
Is it? Humidity. There's a lot of humidity that causes frizz. So I would straighten my hair every single morning in high school. I would flat iron it, you know, or use a straightening comb, whatever I could do to get it straight. And by like 2nd or 3rd period, I have an afro, and I would hate it. I mean, oh my goodness, I would hate it. All the other girls had a perm, their hair was laid, it was laid to the side. It was nice. And so,
yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Love it. So, as an adult, I had to start realizing, because, okay, that was in high school, but that continued my whole life, like always trying to keep my hair like a certain way. And so I had to realize as an adult, my hair is what it is. It does not like being tamed. And it's okay.
Right.
And I had to start, even when I started wearing my hair natural, I had to walk in being natural. Like, I had to be unapologetic about who I was, even if it wasn't perfect.
Yes.
And you know, that perfectionist part of me is like, oh my gosh, it needs to be perfectly straight, it needs to be perfectly this, but no. When I started being unapologetic about the frizzes sticking out over here, the frizzes sticking out over there, there was such a peace that came over me. And again, that was a very like light reference, but I use that very a lot basically in my life about different things that I have to be unapologetic about. You know, this is me and it's okay. I'm not going to apologize about it. My boundary that I'm setting, I'm not going to apologize about setting that boundary. If it is part of me and it's a part of who I am, that's it. You know, that is it. And that's it.
I mean, we have to have identity. We have to know who we are and be able to express that.
Yes.
And to remain consistent.
Yeah.
Because that's the other piece about a bully.
Yes.
Is they're not going to stop.
Ooh.
So you may say no one time,
right?
and they're like, oh, you're saying no today. Tomorrow might be different.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
And a bully will find you when you are weak physically,
Yes.
when you're weak emotionally, when you're weak, you know, mentally,
Yes.
you know, as well as spiritually.
Yeah.
Then they'll come back and try again to cross over that guardrail.
Come on now.
Yes.
And it's in that moment that you have to still remain consistent with your boundary.
Absolutely.
Oh my
You know, one
That's
time
so
for me
good.
personally, in my 20s, you know, I had people that would take advantage of my time and have me doing this for them, that for them, you know, but I didn't set the boundary. I didn't say, you know, no, it's 9 o'clock at night. I need to put my daughter in the bed.
Right.
You know, I'd say, okay, let me go do this for XYZ. Until I felt myself being physically depleted.
Yes.
And then I had to say no. But that didn't stop those individuals from asking me.
Yes.
But I